Hi, welcome to Sacred Enzyme. It's Stacy. I hope you're doing well today, or I hope you had a great day today. It's late here, and I don't usually do content late, but I really wanted to do a video because I've had some incredible stuff happen to me, and I had to share it. Okay, so we've talked about this lady, this bird lady, and so I've been talking about the stuff that has to do with birds, like the third bird and all this stuff. Well, the other day I had the wildest thing happen. So I was praying and I started talking out loud, and I said, whoever it is that's trying to contact me, that keeps coming to me, just give me, I'm going to watch out today. I'm going to keep my eyes open and look, and send me a sign. So okay, so that's what I did. So there was something that happened first thing in the morning. Oh yeah, I did the video on the Thomas Jefferson Starship, right? And it was just kind of silly how I came up with that name anyway. It just kind of came to me. It dropped, epiphany, right? So I get in the car and I'm going to the grocery store is what it was doing. So I'm going to the store. I get in the car. I turn on the radio. It was Jefferson Starship playing on the radio. Okay, so that cracked me up. I'm like, okay, I'm paying attention. So I get to the store, and this guy and his wife had these two little kids. The guy walked right in front of me in the store. I mean, like cut right in front of me, and I just kind of chuckled to myself because, people are in such a hurry, and it doesn't bother me. I just let it go. So I just happened to look up because this guy was a big guy. He was big like my oldest son, and he had a big old back. And I look at his shirt and it says, I thought it said Toth. It said H-O-T-H, not T-H-O-T-H, but H-O-T-H. And I'm like, okay, that I could have sworn that said Toth. So I chuckled to myself. So then I got back home that evening, and, my husband got home, and then, after the family started getting, my husband was watching football. And so he had left the room, and he's been working on our porch. So he was out there, and he just left the TV running. And so he came back in, and he asked me, like, what was happening on the football game. And I'm like, I'm not watching it. I'm not paying attention. I was studying for my class. So he sits down, and I look up at the TV, and literally this player walked in front of the screen, and it said Toth on the back of his jersey. So I just had to laugh, and I'm like, okay, the bird people, is this the Ra, what they call the Ra Collective? So then this is where my deep dive goes. So then I find this material called the Law of One, because, and so they have the Ra version. They call it Ra. But what I got is that it's called Ray. Ray, R-A, is Ray. And I just got a thump on my watch. So I'm pretty sure about this. Is like the third or fourth confirmation I've had that it's not Ra, it's Ray. Just like my father's middle name is Ray. I come from this Ra collective, what they call Ra, but it's called Ray. I come from the Ray collective. This is a 6-density collective, and they're bird people. And I'm here for this work. We're here for planetary ascension. Okay, so I've been studying all of these teachings, and I feel like I have literally come home. Like when I open this video, you can look them up. They're on YouTube. Okay, there's a picture. You know how the video will save a picture? This picture is this bluebird being, and when I seen that, I almost fell over because it looks almost just like the bird lady that I see, except she's not blue. She's not blue. She's got fair, skin. She's like I don't know, like a peach color, a tan color. She's not blue. And she has like this, her hair is like feathers, but it's like a little short, kind of like a short haircut, almost like a pixie or something. It's just like feathers, and they're kind of fluffy right around her head, but they're only like 2.5 inches long, and it kind of goes back like this. Her hair looks like this, and it's feathers. but the eyes were a dead ringer. If you look at those eyes, you'll know just what I'm talking about, how those eyes are so like they give you an uncanny valley, except her eyes had more snake-like slits. You know, that her pupils were more like snake. So, I mean, if you look it up on there, and it's called RA, it's Ray, Law of One. And this is why I know, this is why I'm here, okay? All right, so this is about to get deep, so buckle up. Okay, so I start watching this, and the first thing that they start talking about is a harvest. Okay, I told you that my grandmother came to me when she passed away, and she told me that we were being harvested, right? And then she told me that Adam lived in a crystal castle. Okay, well, every time that they say something, they end it and they say Adonai. So I'm wondering if she was saying Adonai lived in a crystal castle and not Adam. But the harvesting thing, get this. They were the ones, the Ray Collective, they came from density 6, which is super high. Let me get my cone out here. So 6 density is, well, I mean, it would be the 6th dimension. So it would be 13, 14, and 15. Wow. So it would be the 13th, 14th, and 15th plane of existence, which is your Elohai, which are blue, your Seraphi, which are gold, and your Braha Rama, which are violet. And they're always talking about violet, the color violet, which is interesting that I put violet on today, didn't even think about it. Okay, so they talk about the violet flame. So we're talking about 15 density. I mean, this is like where, this is one step below God. Okay, so they originally came here and tried to help the Egyptians. Okay, and this is when you had these 2 periods of time, like Akhenaten was the last one because they came back then. But what was happening was that none of these people were understanding. They were not understanding what they were supposed to be doing. They didn't understand all the laws of one. And so originally they come every 75,000 years and do a harvest on the planet. And what this means is that if you are graduating, okay, if you're going to repeat, this is all just school. This is all this is. It's just nothing but school. We're here for school. This is why my friend from work, when she passed away, she came back and she told me she was still on the job. She was still on the job because this is like your training. You're going back up. This is school. So if you don't perform 51% of what's called service to others, then you fail. Okay, so you have to do a minimum of 51% of service to others from the goodness of your heart. And see, this is where you get a golden age from, is that everyone is putting 51% because every person in the existence is you, because we're all from source, and together we all go back and we make one, we make 1 million trillion sparks of God source. And then we all come back together. We get all our pieces. And see, it's just like we've been talking about, and I theorized, is that some of these collectives got stuck here, and they're like Archangel Michael's collective. He's here to get the other pieces of his collective, because this is the end of the game. Every 75,000 years, these 15-dimensional beings come back for the harvest. They're the ones, they are the elders that come in and they're like, you pass, you pass, you pass, you can go to 4th dimension. But get this, because we have, just like we live on particle earth and there's an anti-particle earth, in the 4th dimension, it's the same thing. So these beings that are here, that have set up an elite group of people to do their bidding for them, because they're giving like technology and things that'll benefit humanity, that's considered like their 51%. But see, it's a manipulation of the law of one. Because what's happening is that they're doing it's selfish reasons, but because they're following the rules, just like you have to consent. You can't sell your soul unless you consent to do it. Okay? So it's all about this whole thing. So we're here for school. We either pass or fail. There's no time limit, but the harvest comes every 75,000 years. So this is why there's so many people here in this ascension cycle, is because this is when the elders come back to either let us out, because we're in quarantine. Remember, we talked about the firmament and how that 12th planetary stargate is separated. So we were disconnected from source. Okay, so we're in this quarantine, and it's only open right now. And then, you know, these bird beings, the Ray Collective, they only try to communicate with people that are absolutely sincere in their heart about performing your 51% or more, or dedicating yourself to service of others. And so this is why some of us are being contacted by these bird people, because we really do want to, from the bottom of our heart, help this planet and help Mother Earth. And we know we have a call here that we're supposed to be doing something that we know, and it's time to wake up. And the people that are waking up right now, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know, you feel it, you know, and you're doing it now. You're making huge huge steps, because you're waking up to information every day that you were like, oh my gosh, I just didn't realize this, you know, or that's really interesting. That makes so much sense. You know, it's just like one piece after, it's like the whole picture's coming together because we just keep adding these pieces. But I'm telling you, the Ray Collective, they're the golden ray. They're the golden seraphim. They're the golden Brahmarama. They're the bird beings. I can't believe that. I am like so honored. It makes me want to try even harder. I'm so touched. But there was a group of people that were talking to this collective, and interesting because it was 3 people combined. It was 2 men and a woman. And together, that they would put their energy together like a Holy Trinity type thing, and they were able to communicate with these bird beings. And it's just taken me a while to figure out that this is the collective that's talking to me. I thought it was Lyra because I was getting information from that. But these bird beings went through Lyra on the way here for this third dimensional of reality. So, you know, it was Lyra, but it was even more than that. You know, it's just, that was the only channel that I was able to get in the time, because I'm still having to tune myself. I'm going through all of these exercises and this deprogramming and this reprogramming, and see, all this stuff is relevant about, you know, the genetics and all of this stuff that's gotten us all mixed up. Because at this point, what does it matter? We just got to work on doing the right thing, you know, just turning the ship around. I guess it doesn't take, but it is nice to know what we've done in the past, so we don't do it again, you know. But the blame game is irrelevant at this point. You know, there's no sense to blame. I mean, we've lived all these lives before. We've lived all these lives. You know, we've been in this bubble for 75,000 years. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? And then some people are just coming in. This is why we have so many people now. People are coming in from other solar systems. This 15th dimension. These people are coming in. These are the bird people. These are all these people that have these bird beaks. You know, these hippie people with these bird beaks. I know quite a few of them. One of them is my teacher. And Dr. J.J. Hurtak, he's definitely one of these 15 dimensional souls that's in here. No doubt about it. I can see it. I can see it in some of these people. I see the birdness. Just like the lady that was doing the channeling for the Ray, Law of One. She's a bird. I can look at her, and I actually see like a parakeet type ladybird. She has the demeanor of a lovely little parakeet. I mean, she's so cute. And she was literally crippled up with rheumatoid arthritis. And it was interesting because the reason that she had such a debilitating, and it totally makes sense because I have like debilitating back pain. And arthritis is really bad in my family. But it was like my teacher was saying, your back hurts so bad because it's where your wings used to be before you came here. And you have phantom soul back pain. And I was like, that didn't dawn on me. But I mean, I've had 2 back operations, but my back hurts in places it's not been operated on yet. And right between my shoulders is where it hurts me the worst, you know, except when it's cold. Then all the spots that have metal hurt. But that's irrelevant. So it's like, that totally makes sense because if I was a bird and I had wings, that's exactly where they'd be hooked to my back at. But I mean, that gives you a whole new perspective because there's 65, how many did he say? 65,000 people that are here from the Bird Collective of Ray to help with the ascension cycle. So I thought that was really, really interesting. And the other thing that he talked about was, this is the second time I've come across this material, and I didn't run across this material yet in Ashiana Dean's teachings, but I liked when I run across the thread that's pretty congruent in all of these teachings, but it's like this law of one stuff. I'm telling you, this is exactly what my grandmother used to, because they were channeling in the 60s and 70s, and so was she. She was channeling. She was a trans channeler. She would write down questions on a piece of paper, and then she would go into a trance, and she would answer all the questions and then wake up and read the answers. And that's the way she used to do it. I remember her doing that from when I was really little. And she always had spirits from the 4th dimension in her house. She had one man in there, and I would have to say that he was probably a negative spirit. And he was obsessed with my grandmother. He would talk, he didn't like her to leave the house. But he would move all kind of stuff around in her house. And one time, she was getting ready to go on a date because my grandfather had died at 35. So she had been single for a very long time. So she was getting ready to go on a date. And that spirit asked her where she thought she was going. But her house always smelled like cigars. Whatever being that was, you know, and I think that there's places where, you know, 4th dimensional beings are inhabiting the same space as the 3rd dimensional beings. And this is why you have a lot of activity that's in a certain spot, you know, because it's, you know, we have all these lines on the planet that are energy lines where they're intersecting on these scalar grids, you know, where you have overlaying areas where you'll have, you know, where they're crystalline more. That's where you get these vortices. And see, this is some of the stuff that they have going on with CERN is, you know, I don't remember where I came across that the other day, but I thought that's interesting. Is how that when they do these experiments at CERN, someone was alleging that that it gives them almost kind of like a paradox thing where they have a window of like 9 days where they can go back and change the past or the current time. And they gave an example. They say Nicki Minaj stood up at the Grammys and she made this outrageous statement that went out to millions of people, and it just say, for an example, and this is not, I'm not saying, just say, you know, that she said that my dog talked, that I have a talking dog and I got him from the government. Just say that she made something, I'm just making that up. And then they were like, oh, that can't get out, the dogs can talk, right? So this person alleged that you could go back in time and you could assassinate her. And then you could go back in time where she never appeared at the Grammys to say her dog talked. So I was like, oh, that's strange. But, you know, but there's something, you know, with CERN there because that's very close to Monsieur, France. And that's where the 12th planetary stargate is in Monsieur. But, you know, this this Ray group, these bird beings, they're back. The birds are back. I kept getting last week that the birds are back, and everywhere I look now, I'm just getting confirmation, like unbelievable. So, you know, I would say that if you meditate and you get, you know, just make sure that you're just pure of heart. And, you know, the other interesting thing is I wanted to ask if any of y'all are OCD, because I'm extremely OCD. Like, my rugs have to be perfectly straight. You know, they can't be a little bit longer on one side than the other. You know, I have to have, everything has to be symmetrical. It's like a crazy thing with me. And I wanted to know if any of y'all are like that, if you're OCD. And I thought, well, that's interesting, because there was something that they were talking about in these teachings that in order to be able to have a more open channel, and what they say channel is just like a channel on the radio, a good channel on the radio where the music's coming in real good, they would have the person that was channeling Ray, the Ray Collective, in, she would be sitting in a certain position, and it would be, you know, like southwest, for example, 20 degrees, and then there would be a candle, and it had to be just in a certain way, and then they would have her walking, they would have the two other people walk around her in a circle, which is interesting, because I did get into meditation, kept saying something clockwise, and I was like, clockwise? What the heck? You know, because I'll get these things, and I'll have, like, no idea, it's, like, not relevant to anything, and I'm like, what? You know, just totally off the wall stuff. And then, like, weeks later, I'll see something and it'll be talking about something being clockwise. Well, they were walking around her clockwise. And I was like, okay, that's another thing. That was another thing besides the harvesting thing right there. I mean, who else is talking about harvesting? I have not heard anybody use that word harvest. You know, I mean, they do have it in the Bible, you know, harvesting the wheat from the chaff and all of that. I mean, it's the same thing. It's just like everywhere. The law of ones is all of, you know, in Jesus, he brought back this divine 12 strand template pattern so we could get back to source. You know, and he was teaching the law of one teachings. But then you had, and I like the way that they talk about it, because, you know, the way that they talk about it is that these bird beings, they had good intentions. They were founder races. They didn't create the reptilians for all of that. I mean, this was experiment in duality, but in 75,000 years, the game's over. It's time to get all the players off the field. Everyone has to either ascend, which hopefully, who wouldn't want to? I mean, if you could wake up and know that this is what it's all about, and for ascension, to go to fourth dimension, I mean, come on, folks. That's worth the effort. That's worth just, you know, drying your eyes and pulling up your big boy pants. You know what I mean? It's worth it. I'm totally game. I'm out of this place. You know, I'm out. After this life is out, my brother's already out. My brother's already ascended. You know? So, I'm sorry, but the dog's probably smelling animal. But with that, I mean, what do you think, guys? I mean, I had to tell you guys about this because it blew me away. I'm telling you, the birds are back, folks. The birds are back. You gotta look at Ray, this, and it's the Diamond Sun in there in 15. I mean, literally, that is one step from the primal sound field. They were the first emanation from source. It's incredible. They're coming back. They're coming back. And it's for the harvest. People are going to ascend, or you're not. I plan on ascending, so, you know, the proof is everywhere. The proof is everywhere. So when you come and find me, I'll be here, living the past, present, future, all at the same time. So I'd love to hear what you guys think. And thanks for spending 24 minutes with me in this cold evening. And so I hope you had a wonderful day, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching Sacred Enzyme. Bye-bye.